Well, I got to pose the question: will Hillary Clinton survive 2016? Will the elections be canceled? And I was thinking that she does have some medical problems. There's something that happened with her because she had to have those special glasses because she couldn't see right or with her correction of her vision. And I do know that, I guess I'll mention it, but Biden's son, Mondale's daughter, Teddy Kennedy, brain cancer, right? Maybe, you see, I'm going to actually present, and I'm not going to scare you with this garbage, but it's food for thought. Um, and I'm not going to scare you too much with her picture either. But basically, she backed out the whole party into a corner. It's like she's becoming a liability. You know how the alternative media is telling you that, oh, she can bring down the whole government. I think to myself, wait a minute, you dodos in the alternative media. If somebody's going to bring down the whole operation, the crooked operation, who do you think's going down? Everybody or that one person? You know, so she's basically got the Democratic Party, like right here. They're backing up, and you know, er, they're all going to be squealing pretty soon. That's what this is the Democratic Party here, the oinks. But yeah, it's like, and you look at what's going on even in the major media and all the contrived events that are happening. With George Soros funding, operations and things. She's trying to put her best foot forward and everything, like nothing's going on. And oh yeah, it was just another freaking, one of those things where it was just a rumor. And yeah, I'm totally squeaky clean. Yeah, nobody's buying that shit anymore. So the public has lost pretty much total confidence in the government. Period. Right? She's actually become a big liability. But say she does have to get rid of her through to some medical thing. I think. I know I read back in the 80s they had ways to get rid of any political leader that was a liability. I mean, back in the 80s, the the line between biological and chemical weapons is like it's so blurred, and it always looks like natural causes. They knew it, and I read these things from actually it was stuff I had to pay cash for, and it was from a doctor of science that knew a lot about what went inside in the U.S. government, also Russia. It's like any political leader gets out of line, they can get rid of them. Now she's not getting out of line, but she's too much of a liability. That's the problem. And you can see, I'm not saying I don't think this is too outlandish because you can see what Soros is doing with Black Lives Matter and stuff. Soros is an old crusty piece of crap. He ought to be doing bootylicious mamas, instead of Black Lives Matter, like bootylicious mamas, BLM. Um, Soros is such a decrepit, this crusty, miserable bastard. He's got nothing better to do except play games with, social engineering and designing upheaval and all this kind of crap. He's a I mean, actually, to tell you the truth, if this is a revolution or something, everybody just ought to go after him first. Then we go wait a couple months, see if all the problems die down, and then, they probably will. That's the way I look at it. He's the big culprit, man. He's one of the big culprits. I know our U.S. military's, I know you Jewish conspiracy yo-yos are always saying it's them. But I can tell you the CIA ain't run by one of them, and neither is Homeland Security. Okay? All right? Yeah. So anyway, but HildaBeast, I don't know what's going to happen to her. Maybe she will have brain cancer. If she does have brain cancer, she's not going to be able to do the head transplant onto the new clone body that Bill might like and pick out. But no, that's not going to happen. That's not going to be in the cards because the brain's going to be incapacitated. Now, I don't know. See, I'm really. I was thinking there has been a lot of speculation. I know some of it came from the National Enquirer. Yeah, a real great source. But sometimes they're good. Sometimes they broke the Jennifer Flowers story, and Jennifer Flowers story was legit. Now she does have some problems with her head. She had to wear these funky glasses for a while because her vision was all distorted because she smacked her head or something or grape someplace. I don't know. She wasn't wearing a helmet while she was in the bathroom taking a shower. I don't know what happened to her. Maybe it was in Benghazi when she got off the plane and no, in what was that other place? I forget. Anyway, when she got off the plane under sniper fire, maybe something ricocheted off her head. She got a pretty strong head. I think you can run her head over with an Abrams tank and it wouldn't batter too much. She is pretty hard headed, but the thing is, I don't think she may not. The way I'm looking at this, it is pure speculation on my part. I'm not trying to like scare you with Darth Vader bullshit here, but it's food for thought. It's like I realize that the alternative media, and I know the powers that be want this yo-yo in power. They want her in power, including the Koch brothers with the Tea Party. They want her in power. The freaking Koch brothers, man. I knew they were a scam. Now, but I also realize she's just probably just become too much of a liability. And if she actually has this thing where she has all this stuff on everybody, she could bring all these people down. Well, she's got too many enemies. That's usually how the Ouija board starts moving on its own. There's too many people that are like finding, hey, this blondie here is like too much of a problem for us, and then it just something happens to her. That's what I'm thinking. Now, if something happens to her, I got to go to the next step. If she's the presumptive candidate for the Democratic Party, and they can't stand Trump, they don't want Trump in there, and Bernie Sanders is already sold out and went to Hillary, which I kind of figured he would because he was already dropping hints about enough with this email scandal. You gotta rip their jugular out with that shit way back when. I think that maybe considering doing all this other outlandish shit. I mean, 911 was damn outlandish. Why couldn't they just say, well, we got to suspend elections, for a year or some shit? I don't know. I don't know. I don't like to think that. But look at all the stuff that just went on with Hillary. This Comey guy outlined all these different things she did wrong. Plus, also she lied under oath a million times. And it's like you're allowed to do this. Blah. I mean, they're just busting the laws any which way they want. And again, I think after Soros goes bye, you're not going to see any problems with this Black Lives Matter stuff. It's just going to be bootylicious mamas, and we got to concentrate on bootylicious mamas. And hell with this Black Lives Matter. Well, you know what? It's a cute phrase, Black Lives Matter. It's a cute phrase, but what's going on? It's actually a Soros-funded freaking operation to destabilize America. Bootylicious mamas, man. We could change that. We could change that acronym around. And Hillary, you wish you were a bootylicious mama, but I don't know. Maybe you can with enough hormones. You probably got bigger balls than this freaking thing over here. Your party. Is this the Democratic Party? A pig? An oink oink? Anyway, I don't know. I think you're both screwed up. You got the rhinoceros and you got the pig. Those are the two parties. Anyway, lady, you have a headache, but the problem is you are a headache, and maybe she's. It is big time speculation on my part, and I know the Washington Inquirer talked about she's got health problems up to yin yang and all this kind of crap. I personally think they got ways to freaking make people. Look at Rockefeller. He's 99 years old, man. The guy's gonna be around another 20 years or some shit at least. They got ways to make. If they want somebody to live long, they can. But I'm looking at it. She's too much of a liability. She's probably gonna cause people to just say, disobey every. Like everybody's lost faith in the system now because of her. Pretty much. And once people lose faith in the system, the ones that have the racket on the top, they no longer have a racket. So they might get rid of her. And I'm thinking step 2, if they get rid of her, what's the next step? Are they going to cancel the election? I can't believe that would happen, but I've been hearing that on the alternative media. I think alternative media was just fanning the flames of, the usual alternative media stuff like, oh, yeah, they're going to cancel the election. But now I'm starting to think, well, if they did, something happened to her between now and November, and, I'm thinking something might happen to her because she's too much of a problem. Well, what would happen? Wouldn't they postpone the election? I mean, not like cancel it forever. Wouldn't they postpone it? Why don't you just put this chick up for president or some shit? I'd vote for her. I'm not Hillary. Shit. Hillary's not a woman. Hillary's a. This is not Hillary. This is Hillary gonna be if she gets a cloned body later on. I don't know if she is or isn't, but she's got brain cancer. It ain't gonna help. This is Hillary right here.
Hey, I didn't know anything. I don't know nothing. But I just want to be your leader. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I don't remember. I don't know what difference does it make. But I want to be your leader because I care.
Anyway, lady. I don't know how Bill puts up with this shit. You know why he's freaking well, Bill's just a horn dog. That's what the hell the deal is with a Bill. Bill needs a some kind of female that morphs into every kind of female in the world. Then he'd be dedicated, you know. Other than that, he's never going to be dedicated. Not in a million years. Yeah, that would be Bill. Then he'd be dedicated to one woman. If the woman can just morph into something else. Yeah, because Billy Boy is just ridiculous. Anyway, but, you know, Billy Boy's a horn dog. That's all I can tell you. But, you know, I don't think she's going to be around, man. And it's like step one goes to step two. What happens if Hillary Clinton just like croaks in October or some shit like that? You know, she has a brain aneurysm and she just falls on the stage and everybody throws flowers at her. And, oh yeah, she was so great, and have her funeral and shit. And everybody's not worried about all the dimes and manhole covers and shit she's gonna spill on them, all the goods. And what would they do? What would they do going into the November election? Wouldn't they have to postpone it? Yeah, it's a long shot, but I'm beginning to think this long shot is not so much of a long shot as it used to be last year when I read about it in National Enquirer, freaking stalwart freaking publication that gives you great freaking information. That's always accurate. But, I do realize that brain cancer has been one of, well, according to what I know, maybe you'll say I don't know anything, but according to what I know, usually brain cancer is the way to get rid of people, man. It's incurable. Well, pretty much. It's incurable unless you watch my channel. It is curable. But I ain't going to tell you how to cure it, lady. So anyway, yeah. Anyway, so we'll see. We'll see. It's speculation. Um, but, I'm not trying to dramatize something like, as you mentioned, it's InfoWars or something. I'm not trying to dramatize it like that. But I'm starting to think, it's just a serious possibility. We shall see.